Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and this is Into the Weekend with Bet DSI, the call we do every Thursday with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook, where we talk to him a little bit about the betting action that he's seen in both college and NFL over the past week, and he gives us a little insight into the sharp and betting action that we might expect for the upcoming slate of games. Right now, we're going to take a look ahead at college football Week 10 and NFL Week 9. Brent, thanks for being here once again.
Good to be with you, Peter.
All right, let's start off with college Week 10. Of course, we're going to split this into two parts. And once again, before we start, I do want to thank you once again for doing all this work. It does take a decent amount of effort on your part to provide us with all this information, so we all really appreciate that. Let's start out with the marquee games this week. Of course, the most marquee game maybe of the whole year, Alabama, LSU. This line, LSU is a huge home underdog. I'm wondering if the Sharps have touched this game at all. If they did, I'm guessing LSU was what they've been betting.
Yeah, this game has been just an incredible action so far. We've had that both on the side and the total. The total, we've had a lot of money coming in on the under. Most of that was on 42. No real sharp money involved so far yet, but just a ton of volume. We're sitting at 41 as a total right now. And with these two teams, you can imagine 41 is like a total. But you can see these teams struggling to score. But we do have sharp money. It's been on the home dog at LSU when the line was at 10. So sharp money took LSU plus 10. Our money is even now because the sharp money kind of drowns out the public money, but the count is in favor of Alabama, about 2-1. So it's a decent split, not a heavy, sharp public split, but it's a decent split nonetheless in terms of the count being 2-1 on Alabama and sharp money on LSU.
So I noticed that this line was bouncing on and off the 10 a lot in the early going. Now, is that as a result of sharp movement, sharp action, or public action?
We had some what we'll call respectable action on Alabama, even at -9. I know we're 8.5 right now, but the sharp money was on LSU at plus 10. That was the biggest volume we took.
Right. Okay. And then moving on to Oregon, USC, another marquee game. This one a little bit of a tougher one. I would guess that probably the Sharps, as of now, have laid off this game.
Actually, I've got sharp money on USC, Peter.
Really?
This game that actually sets up as one of those nice public sharp splits that we have. I guess the public is just kind of down on USC and loving Oregon at this point. I've got a count of about 6-1 in terms of Oregon, which is quite big, and the money's 3-1 in favor of Oregon as well. Now, I took sharp money plus 7.5 and plus 8 on USC from sharps. I'm sitting at 8 right now just because the public just keeps on laying it, and like I said, our money is still 3-1 in favor of the Ducks.
Really? So the public is pounding Oregon at that number. So then this is going to be a big decision game for you?
Right now, as it stands right now, yeah, it's a big decision game for us. And again, because the Sharps generally bet a little more in terms of dollar volume, that could get drowned out because I'm still using 8, and they were taking 7.5 on 8 before. So by kickoff, we could be even there, but hopefully not. I don't mind having to root for USC at home plus 7.5 or 8.
All right, that's pretty interesting. And then Georgia Tech, Maryland. Now, this game has been debated ad nauseum at SBR and all over the place because Maryland, of course, having all kinds of quarterback problems, and now they're going to be starting a fourth stringer who I believe is a true freshman, a converted linebacker or something like that. So some people have seen that and just said, Georgia Tech is a lock. What kind of action have you gotten on this game? Has it been a high-volume game?
Decent volume, not one of the higher volume games, but your posters maybe are debating this game, and the Sharps are as well, it looks like. I've had sharp money on Georgia Tech minus 6.5. I had sharp money take Maryland plus 8.5. We're sitting at 8 right now. Right now we're still at 8 just because our dollar volume is about 2-1 in favor of Georgia Tech. The counted number of wagers is about 4-1 in terms of Georgia Tech. So, you got public involved looking at a situation that, like you just said, in terms of the quarterbacks at Maryland. So they're probably going to be continually going with Georgia Tech. And like I said, the sharp money at 6.5 on Georgia Tech, you're not going to see that number anymore.
Right.
So if we get any sharp money back, it's going to be Maryland plus the 8.5.
Right. So the public has been pounding Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech and the under as well. We took under money at under 49, 48, 47. We're sitting at 46.5 right now, and really we haven't got anything back on the over.
Right. So that sharp money on Georgia Tech, do you think that they just hit that at 6.5 because they knew the line was going to move because the public was going to react to the news, or do you think it's that they actually thought that there was value on Georgia Tech at 6.5?
Well, you have to look at the mind of the Sharps, and to them, it's all about the number.
Right.
Sometimes it's the case of they want to middle the situation where they're going to lay 6.5 and take 7.5 somewhere else, or even within the office here, or they just simply think laying less than a touchdown with Georgia Tech is good. And then you've got other groups of Sharps who will say, look, if I can get a touchdown, more than a touchdown with Maryland at home, I'm going to take that as well. So you've got, it depends on the mind of the Sharps and what they're working with in this particular game. Like I said, they could be just trying to middle it at 7, but we don't know.
And then Oklahoma State, Kansas State. This is an interesting game. Kansas State, of course, great team this year, and they've been a great bet. They've been covering repeatedly, 6-1-1 against the spread. I'm wondering, is there any kind of Kansas State bandwagon that you've seen? Has the public are they starting to bet Kansas State every game like they usually do with these top 5 teams that cover?
Well, it's been about 3 weeks in a row now, Peter, that I've touched on Kansas State being a public side, and that holds true as well this weekend. I've got them -8.5 right now. Our count in terms of number of bets, just to give you an idea, is 8-1 in favor of Kansas State. So That's a lot of public money. The dollar volume is about 2-1, and the dollar volume is, of course, only 2-1, where the count is 8-1 because I have sharp money on Oklahoma State plus
really?
9.
Wow. So you had no sharp action on Kansas State then?
No, I don't at all. It's strictly a public side, just a whole lot of volume. Like I said, 8-1 is a really big count, and about 3 weeks now we've been going that Kansas State is a lot of public money.
But maybe the public is right this week again then, if they were right the last 2 weeks.
They might be. But that means the Sharps are wrong. And long term, I'm going to be on the same side of the Sharps, and that was Oklahoma State plus 9.
Sure. But the past 2 weeks, if you remember, did you get sharp action against Kansas State the past 2 weeks or not?
Yeah, we did, and they had Texas Tech money. I remember we had sharp money on Texas Tech plus 7.5.
Right. So the Sharps. So then last week the public was right and the Sharps were wrong.
Yep. It happens.
It does happen. All right. Pitt and Notre Dame. This is a curious line and a game. Of course, Notre Dame shocked the world last week, I think, with a decisive win over Oklahoma. Now, though, they're a huge home favorite over Pitt. So I'm just wondering. I can't even guess what kind of action you've got. Has the public been touching this, and have you gotten any sharp action at all on it?
We got a little bit of sharp action on Notre Dame -16.5. We're at -17 right now. The action we got, though, is from a syndicate. So sometimes they're just looking to drive the number up and come back on the other side, closer to game time. We won't know, of course, until closer to game time. But as of right now, the only sharp money has been Notre Dame -16.5. But my count and dollar volume is even, so I've got decent action on both sides of this game.
So I'm curious about what you just said, the syndicate stuff. So when you take sharp action, can you tell what action is meant as like a fake move, or what action is really meant as a real sharp play?
Not before the line moves on us. No, Peter. You'll see sometimes that a guy is, like I said, a guy who's very well respected. Take this case, Notre Dame -16.5. Now he'd be maybe betting, a full size bet here, trying to push that number up to 17.5. And what he really wants to do is get 5-10 times his wager here on the other side plus 17.5. He's just trying to set up a number. But again, we don't know that.
All right, interesting. Okay, so then some of this information that you give me, where you say you've gotten sharp action on this, could in fact be that.
Well, generally speaking, when it's a case like that, I do mention it's type of syndicate action, as I did with Notre Dame here. Like the money I got on Oklahoma State, we talked about Oklahoma State, Kansas State, that was pure sharp money. USC was pure sharp money. This Notre Dame game could be a group trying to push the number. Could be.
All right, and then let's move on to a general sharp action this week in college football. Now, there's 3 sides that jumped out at me as sides that I would expect the Sharps to be very attracted to. I would predict them to be sharp sides. One is Arkansas State, minus less than touchdown over North Texas. Then Kentucky getting as a home dog of a touchdown or more. And then Colorado State as a road dog of more than a touchdown in a big rivalry game. Am I right about any of those sides being sharp, or all 3 of them?
Well, Arkansas State is, as you can see, we're at -5, and that's actually where sharp money came. We've kind of been all over the map in that. We've taken sharp money anywhere from 4 all the way up to 6 on both sides of this game. So 4, 5, 6. We're sitting at 5 right now, and we're really split. We've got sharp money, like I said, both sides, and our count and everything is balanced on that. So I can't see us going off of that until we get a whole lot of dollar volume on one side or the other. But that's been, I guess, Sharps as well are debating that game in terms of what side they like. Kentucky has been a sharp side. That was at +7.5. We took sharp money there. Some decent money on Vanderbilt -6.5. That was, I would say respectable money, not necessarily as sharp as what we took with Kentucky +7.5. But our dollar volume on that game is even, and the count in terms of number of wagers is about 8-1 in favor of Vanderbilt. So that gives you an idea that's more of a public side. And Colorado State, I would say Colorado State was sharp, yes, but it was pretty much about the number. Colorado State +10 is where we took all the sharp money. Since we've gone below 10, we haven't really seen anything either way. The count is close now, and the money slightly favors Colorado State. So if anything, you could say that, yeah, Wyoming's a bit of a public side, but the only sharp action was at the number 10.
All right, great. And so now before we move on to NFL, are there any other sides or totals that you would like to share with us that have gotten notable sharp action that you've seen this week?
Well, this Arkansas side this week is really interesting. We're sitting at and we took serious sharp money -6, -6.5, -7, and sharps just couldn't get enough of Arkansas. Right now, our count is about 2-1 in favor of Arkansas. The money's about 3-1. So that's a situation where I've got sharps all over Arkansas and just nothing on the other side calls us. So that's an interesting game to look out for. Again, a lot of it's about the number. You can't get 7 anymore, and we're at 9 with Arkansas, but that's definitely a side that sharps were all over. Another one, a good sharp public split, is Syracuse at Cincinnati. Right now we have Cincinnati as a 4-point favorite. The count is 5-1 in terms of Cincinnati, but the sharps are on Syracuse. They took 5 there, and that's a side where we're going to be rooting for the sharps to win. One other game that was just like a real public side now, not necessarily sharps heavily involved, was San Jose State. They were all over San Jose State, -17, drove it all the way up to 20. We see a little bit of sharp money coming back on Idaho +20, but we're still there. The count is about 8-1, and dollar volume is about 4-1. That's, again, it's not a marquee game, San Jose State at Idaho, but the public was all over San Jose State.
Wow. That also goes to show you that sometimes those big moves are not as a result of sharp action. They're a result of just overwhelming public action.
Yep, that's true, Peter.
Okay, great. Let's move on to NFL.